Hey guys, welcome to Creativity Level Zero. I'm Jim.
And I'm Steve.
Thanks everybody for joining. So Steve, what have you been up to today?
Well, today I put on some pants, so it's a big momentous day.
How many days do you think you've gone without pants?
Is there a world record? Because I think I might have broken it.
Oh my goodness.
I need to
What?
start calling Guinness, you know,
Yeah, I can tell. And
and
what's
not the
going
beer company.
and and what's going on with your camera situation there? Why are you orange?
It's a good question. I'm gonna assume it's because today it's very cloudy outside, and it's only my natural,
This is the
incandescent
natural
lighting.
light in your house.
That's right.
Orange.
Yeah. Yes, it looks like an old person's home. You know, when you go to like your grandma's
You're
home,
so
everything has this type of color where it's like
yeah.
yellowish orange.
It's
You
like
can't tell if
a
it's from
soft
old
color.
age.
It's a
Yeah.
soft color.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
very soft.
Yeah.
You know,
Well.
I got a soft personality.
I uh I wanted to mention about old people. Um,
Okay.
this is a
You
good
wanted to
story. This
mention
is a
old
good
people.
story.
All right.
And I think I've told it to you before, but it's a story worth mentioning on the podcast just because it makes me sound like a hero. So any story
Wow.
like that. So if you remember in my old apartment, I used to live with all the old people. So I
Okay.
lived, for context, I lived in an apartment that was like 10 stories high
An
with like
apartment complex.
complex. No, it was an apartment building. Apartment building.
Apartment building. Okay.
And it was massive and it had like, I don't know, 10 high and maybe like 50 for floor, maybe more, maybe like 100 per floor. There was a lot. Those hallways were long.
Okay.
And it was filled with old people, filled with retired people. They weren't just old, they were like 80s. Like
Oh.
they
Oh.
were
Okay.
they were like
Feel bad for all our 80s listeners.
80
80-year-old
80 year
listeners
old
over
listeners.
here. They're just like, you guys aren't just old. Like, you guys are, there's old, and then there's you guys. Like, way up
I
there.
didn't use the word geriatric, but you're hitting that.
Oh my God.
But they were old, and I used to call them White Walkers because because they were pale because they never went outside,
They never went
and
outside.
they and it was it was a triple funny joke because obviously the White Walkers from Game of Thrones. But then you had they would be people using walkers, which was funny, and then and then they'd also be like they did this thing which I'll never understand. They'd wake up in the morning and walk the hallways. So
Okay.
7 a.m. they'd be up and
Gotta get that
you'd hear like
exercise in.
down the hall, and you'd look
Yeah,
out.
at least they're lifting their feet.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
no,
you get those old ladies that'll just like just
glide.
shuffle,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
shuffle
yeah.
like little tiny
So
steps.
I used to call them White Walkers, but it was prolific on my floor. They were everywhere, and to be fair, there were other people. Actually, a girl that I worked with lived in the same building as me, and I worked like 25 minutes from my place. So it was a nice place. Like other people lived there, but yeah, there were more old people than young people, and it was to the
Right.
point where when my grandparents came to visit me, they said, "Can we just live here?" And I was like, nah.
Is it just because you didn't want to have to? You know, your grandma would call you
Oh yeah,
like every day to do
She
stuff.
just lived next door. My grandma'd be fine living next door. Ring that doorbell.
Jimmy,
Oh
over! I fell in the bathtub again.
well, this is the story. Don't ruin the story. This is part of the story.
I
So
just put old people and falling in bathtubs hand in hand.
apparently that's common. So
Okay.
this happened one night. I'm on the computer playing video games at like I don't know 11 or 12 at night. You may or may not have been playing with me, but
Okay.
it was
Sure.
late and wearing headsets. Doorbell rings, and I was thinking, what the hell's going on? Because if it rings that late in a building like mine, something's up. So
I
I
can see
go out
that.
and yeah, and we have a doorman. That's right. We had a guy who loves to just stand there all day. That's what he did.
Sure.
And two old ladies were there, and they were like, "Do you know the lady who lives in this apartment?" And it was the one that was like not across from me, but second across. The one
Oh
across from me,
God.
as an aside to this story, had a full-fledged house in her apartment. I'm
What
talking
does that
like
even mean?
I'm talking like multiple couches, multiple dressers in her living room. It was like all the stuff in a house in an apartment. It was just wall to wall stuff.
Right. She probably had a house, and then they're like, "Oh,
I,
I'll just put you in this
exactly.
old ass apartment. Just
Shove
bring
it
this
in.
over and just shove everything in there."
That's what she did. Yeah. So anyway, so I was like, no, I don't know that lady, and they were like, her son called us and told us to go into her room. And remember, this is like at night. White Walkers go to bed at like 7:30. So like I'm still trying to process what's going on because they're never up this late. So
You didn't tell them, like, "Aren't you past your bedtime?"
no. But like, because once it hits 8 o'clock, I know they're already sleeping. So like, I never see them past 8 o'clock. So I knew something was up, and I was like, okay, well, why don't you just go in and check on her? And they're like, we couldn't get the door open. So now I'm thinking like, how do these doors break? Like, what's going on? And they're like, here. I was like, okay, show me. So I walk out there, right? And I was like, show me. And they take the key and they put it in, but they didn't turn it. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, you got to turn it to unlock it. So like, I unlock it for them, right? They're like, oh, thank you so much, no problem. Open the door for them. Looked in the apartment, pitch black. And I was like, I ain't going in there. There's an old lady in there. I don't know what's going on. I was like, you guys go. And so they looked at me and they're like, can you go check on her? And I was like, I guess. So I go in there, all right?
I already picture this whole thing. Like, you like can't slowly.
It's scary.
Walk in.
It's
say,
because you
"Hello,
go.
hello."
Well, that's what happened. I'm like, hello, nobody's talking. She apparently lives alone. And you've been
Okay.
to my old apartment, same apartment as mine. It's got a living room, kitchen, dining room, and then like a bedroom. Right?
Right.
Bedroom door is closed, so like you assume they're in there. Everything's dark. The place looks like it's from the 50s. So like there's plastic on the couch. It's like it's a weird feeling. All right?
Sure.
I
Does it
couldn't
smell
find.
like old people too?
It smelled like old people. And so I couldn't
no
find.
offense to our old listeners.
No offense. There's just a little spray doesn't hurt. So then I go to the bedroom and I'm like, hello, right? Still didn't hear anything, so it's like, all right, I gotta turn on a light in here, cause like I had my cell phone light for the living room. But remember the
Why'd
door.
you just turn on the lights?
I really didn't want to be in there, cause like I was afraid that there's a dead person in there.
You thought the lady was just dead. Then
Yeah,
you were going,
well, that's common. Like
I
if they
guess
live
so.
alone and they fall, nobody can get them, without life
Right.
alert. So
without life.
yeah, the deal they had set up was that the lady's son called every day, and if she didn't pick up, these other two ladies would go in and check on her
Okay.
to know if she's okay. But like if you're old and you've been sitting there for a while, you could be dead by the time a
Right.
phone call comes. So I go in, I'm in the bedroom, and I'm like, I gotta turn on the light now because it really is dark. Because the other ladies are still in the hallway, and the
Just
lights
staring at you
Yeah.
going in.
Yeah, and I'm like, so I turn the light switch on, and the TV goes on. And I'm like, what the hell? Who hooks up their TV to their light switch? I'm like, this
Funny
is...
that you should say that because my parents do, and it drives me crazy.
Wait a minute! Your
Because
parents-
not only is it hooked up to the light switch, but there's several light switches that connect the two. So you're trying to turn on a light, but it turns off the TV because
Wait,
another switch
what?
was like in the on position that turned on the TV. So
Why is the TV on a light switch? That's worse.
So it's on two light switches.
That they invented
because I do it all the time.
What about the remote control?
What do you mean?
They changed channels with the remote control,
No,
right?
it's because the switches are hooked up to outlets, and that was just the closest outlet to where they wanted to put the TV. So
They couldn't buy an extension cord for one outlet.
they didn't want to deal with that. They just rather not touch that light switch.
Oh my
But
god!
it's on like a panel of 5 light switches.
Oh,
which one turns on the hallway lights
Oh my
and not
good-
turns off the TV.
Oh my goodness! I literally just heard a thud.
Uh-oh.
My
Are you
whole
about to
house,
get
my whole house shook,
your whole house shook?
like as if something fell.
Maybe there's an old lady next to you that just fell in her bathtub.
Oh man!
You're about to relive.
So
Sorry.
what happened was I go in there, no light, so I'm literally doing this with the phone, and then
You have
she's
to
in the.
describe what you're doing because we're.
Okay, I get in there. It's pitch black. Turn on the TV, of course. I turn
Yeah.
on the TV. See the bed, and then the way the apartment's set up is the way mine was, where you walk in, there's like bed and space, and to the right there's like closet and bathroom. And then I called in
Okay.
there, and I was like, hello, and she was like, I'm in the bathroom. So then I was like, outside the bathroom door, I was.
That was good.
She was
right?
alive. Outside the bathroom door, I was like, are you okay? And she's like, I fell in the bathtub. And I was like, okay. She's like, can you help me? And I knew that if somebody falls and they're old, you shouldn't move them, because if they broke a bone or like something, you shouldn't shift it. So I was like, I definitely shouldn't go in there. One, because the old person's naked, and two, because it's not good to move someone when they're hurt.
Right.
But I really did need to look to like see what was going on. So like I looked in, and I was actually scared because she was in blood too. Like she was bleeding. And so I was like, oh my
jeez.
God, like how long has this lady been here? Whatever, right? So
Yeah.
I immediately called 911, right? And then I just told them, like, I'm in this apartment. This lady fell. You should probably bring a stretcher. Like, I don't know what's going on, kind of a thing. They get there, okay? They call me when they're outside my building, because remember, my building has the doorman and everything, but at night they lock
Right.
it. So I had to go downstairs and let them in. And these guys who came in, it was as if it was just a sunny Saturday. They were coming in, taking their time, drinking the coffee.
I think paramedics just always
Just
do that.
taking their sweet time, and they take the
Yeah.
elevator up. We get up, and I'm just in the elevator. I'm like, man, I'm glad you guys got here so fast, because I used to live right next to a hospital. I was like, I can't believe you guys get here so fast. And they're like, this sort of thing happens all the time. They'll be fine. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So yeah, they get the lady, they get her on the stretcher, they take her out. Next day, I get a call from the son of the guy, essentially saying, thank you so much, saved my mom's life, all these things. We're going to move her out. Yeah, which was really great. So that's my one good deed for the lifetime, I think. I think I'm covered. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I actually have an almost exact same story
I'm ready for it.
as you. So,
Okay.
I lived with my parents in Florida for a year, and across the street from them, there was these two really, really old people. They were really nice, but they were really, really
Like how
old.
old? Because you're using the word really, really old, and
Like,
I just said
yeah,
old.
like in the 80s, but like probably late 80s.
Yeah.
Like they're shuffling. What?
Carpet shufflers? Is that what we're gonna call them?
Carpet shuffling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a previous time where the husband just was getting out of the car and just fell over, and my dad had to go there and help him.
Oh
up.
wow.
But yeah, so I'm alone in the house because I didn't start working yet at that time, and both my parents were at work, so it was just me in the house. And
What type of house is
knock
it, by the way? I haven't been to your Florida house.
it was just like a bungalow.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just like a bungalow. So it's a standalone house. You don't share with anyone.
Okay, so
but,
you wouldn't have heard somebody, like you're not wall to wall.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's a standalone house, and so, but they know that we're like nice people and we've helped them in the past, and so she knocked on our door, and I, said hello, exchanged pleasantries, and she said, my husband, he had an accident. He just couldn't make it to the bathroom in time.
My God.
So he soiled himself. And I was like, okay. and so I told him, he needs to go take a shower because it's like, it's all up in
Oh.
his business. and
Uh,
and I was like, okay, well, hopefully, he's all clean now. It's like, yeah, but I told him to use the bathtub that has a handlebar, but he didn't, and so now he's stuck in the bathtub. And I can't lift him up. And I was like, "Oh my god! Why do you even have a bathroom, a bathtub that doesn't have like some way to get you guys
out.
up?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just on the floor in the bathtub, and he just can't get up, and he soiled himself.
Oh my god!
I was like, "Oh my
Floating
god!
poop everywhere.
I can't believe I'm about to go help this person." So I was like, "Okay, I'm coming."
Oh.
I just remember, when you do those awkward hugs that you like extend
Yeah.
your bottom half of your body
Yeah,
out. and
like you keep your
top half-
pelvises like this.
Yeah, you keep
Yeah,
your
like if
pelvises
you're gonna
away
hug a
from each other.
girl that you don't really like or really know, you're kind of like, you guys go in and you're like, ah, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pelvis distance really separates how close you are to someone.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's why we hug like a grilled cheese sandwich. We just
very gooey.
Yeah.
So that's what I did to this guy because he still had like stuff on.
So when you picked him up, you like hug picked him.
Yeah, but that's very difficult to do in that position because he's still like
slippery too.
180-pound man.
You're leaning over, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just he can't brace himself at all, so he can't even ask for really much help. He's trying to do stuff.
He's just a floundering fish.
He's flailing around as I'm trying to lift him from underneath the arms in this like awkward position. Pretty sure I strained my back.
Oh man! Oh my
we got
goodness.
him up, and he thanked me afterwards. But I was like, oh my god, this like naked man that I just had to. He soiled himself. I just had to help him up.
I think we should do a shout out to all those stay-at-home. Let's call them stay-at-home nurses, even though not all of them are technically nurses. Just caretakers, let's call them.
Right.
People who take care of the elderly. I think that's a job that, knowing my grandparents, would drive me insane. Just a day of hearing them nag would drive me insane. That doesn't include things like changing them, bathroom problems, shower issues, none of that. Like,
right.
Yeah, I could totally see how people like that get resentment towards older people.
Oh yeah. No, but they love their job. Some of them.
Yeah. Well, it must. You're right.
There are some people who abuse, the elderly.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely a shout out to them. I know when my grandmother was in the hospital, she basically just let herself go, and she was gaining so much weight that they had to like wrap her in stuff to pull her up with a crane so she could stand up. Yeah, it was bad.
Oh man, they had to cut off the food supply for her. She's in the hospital.
Yeah, so you can imagine you had to like roll her to one side, then like stick the strap, roll her to the other strap, and then like use a machine to like heave her up.
Oh my goodness! Oh man, yeah, that's tough. I do think healthcare workers have it tough. I mean, since we're still in COVID right now, COVID-19, 2020, 2021 here. Since we're still having that happen, you do think about them because they have to go into the doctor's office,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they're still working. I have a lot of friends who work in healthcare.
Right. Hopefully they don't get sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not only that, they're overworked like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've trained for it. If they're doctors, that's why they go through the rotations.
That's right. They do that hell during rotation.
I wonder if. And this may insult some doctors out there listening, but I wonder if part of them are thinking, I can't wait to test myself again. I could go through that living hell again. You know, like if you've done it and you're like, yeah, I've worked those 18-hour days or like 12-hour days and it was so hell, but like I'm better for it, and then you kind of can brag about it to other people. But now it's like round two is coming. Are you gonna tough it
That's
up,
right.
or are you gonna just give up?
So you're saying people were bragging about it. And
I'm
now
thinking
it's
some of them
happening.
might do that. They might be like, "Oh, this is a piece of cake. I did a year and a half of rotations in my sleep." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Or they may say things like,
Well,
"Back."
people get that's you do your rotations when you're younger,
Right.
typically, and so you have a lot more energy than
Right, true, and no family, right? Maybe no
yeah,
family at the time, or,
exactly. Yeah,
or they
no,
could say like, back when I did rotations, we didn't have XYZ machine or XYZ. We
yeah,
didn't have
exactly.
Monster. We didn't have Monster energy drinks. We just survived on coffee. That's
Just
why.
coffee,
That's why I
pure
pee so much.
espresso, double espresso shots.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, we nowadays I actually don't I do live in a place where I'm wall to wall touching the neighbors, but I don't actually live near any elderly folk. I don't know. I
Yeah, I don't
guess you don't
know.
either.
I don't really know. Well, the person above me, um, he's elderly. I know. I haven't really. It's funny because I keep joking around that they're vampires. Because I swear they never sleep. They're just always running around, moving stuff, walking around at all hours of the night. Maybe they sleep during the day and they're
It could be. Well, they could be on China time. So when I was
well,
in
they're actually Filipino.
perfect. That's just the same, right? What is that? A 12-hour difference? That's got to be 10-hour difference.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, but they've been here for a while. Um,
They could be
yeah, and
working.
I barely have any contact with them because they barely get out of the house.
Except for Amazon packages.
Except for Amazon packages, yeah, they still get them. I still hear knocks on the door. They get food delivered and Amazon packages, and the food delivered is not, human sacrifices. So,
Okay, just checking.
they,
Yeah, because
yeah, I'm pretty
so
sure.
we actually covered vampires in a different episode, so I don't want to go too
Oh,
deep
that's
into
true.
vampires.
That's true. Did I talk about my neighbors?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Oh, that's interesting.
But when they knock on your
Um,
door, you don't have a doorbell. You have the knocker. I was wondering
Yeah,
if you think
just a
when they
knocker.
knock, it's also yours.
Yeah, except you can tell. So it always gets your attention, but when it's your knocker, it's significantly louder.
Okay.
So it's your knocker.
Yeah,
But
I try to
all
knock
the
in
time you're
code.
like, when I have my headset on, I'll be like, "Is that mine?"
Yeah, exactly.
Because the headset, blocks
Yeah.
out sound. So
Same here. Like right now, for me, if my doorbell rings, there's no way I'm going to hear it with this thing on upstairs. Forget it. You know.
yeah, this is noise canceling too. See,
That's why when I heard the thud, it was like I was really surprised. One, I heard it. Yeah, same. I have noise canceling. And two, I felt it. I was like, whoa.
felt it in your chest.
Yeah, like everything shook a little. I was like, all right. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting where you live because there's actually a lot of families. Whereas when I lived in the apartment complex, it was a lot of either young couples or single people, and then older people. But you seem
Right.
to have like a very, very family dense area.
Yeah, definitely. The young families, they like to live
Yeah,
here, for
young
sure.
families. That's right. They have their little. I see them with their bikes and stuff.
I had an interesting exchange this morning with,
This
I guess, a
morning, you
neighbor.
wait. Why would you go
Yeah.
outside?
I went to go get my mail. Not
Still.
because I had important mail, but I did. I
Yeah.
did get a birthday card from my aunt.
Oh,
But
that's nice.
I also needed spare newspaper to fill up one of my pet's tanks. Like
Oh,
to
okay.
put new substrate at the bottom.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I was I was walking towards the mailbox, and from the other side, somebody was also walking towards the mailbox.
Oh, it's so awkward.
And it's awkward in normally.
Yeah.
Um,
But this is COVID
but
time.
but this is COVID time, so it's even more awkward. Instead, I just really slowed down my pace. But he definitely noticed me, and he noticed my where I was
He
going.
noticed you
And
slow down too.
yeah, and me looking at him and my slowing down, and he had to pass me, and we'd have to pass like directly next to each other on the sidewalk in order for him to get back to his house afterward. So instead, we were getting close, and then he just made a sharp turn, went around the parking lot.
Oh my god.
coming close to me.
And there were no
Yeah.
words exchanged at this.
No, but I was scared because as he walked away, he did he cleared his throat, and I was like, oh, should I even breathe the air that's around my
No.
lungs? I held my breath. I was like,
Yeah, you gotta hold it. So that was like a primal exchange.
yes.
You guys both like looked at each other, sized each other up.
Yeah, there was a lot of what's the word? Non-vocal communication.
Non-verbal.
Non-verbal. That's right. Non-verbal.
Non-vocal.
You got what I meant.
Yeah.
Non-verbal communication, where it was just from the eyes and from posture. You could tell uncomfortableness.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
That's true. When I feel uncomfortable, I kind of just like close up a little and I like hunch over a little.
Go in the fetal position.
Yeah, I kind of just when I'm walking, I kind of just like my shoulders get a little tighter and I'm just like, I keep it close. I don't know where the attack's coming from.
People give you some weird looks, but to you, they're just like acknowledging you.
Right.
Hey.
Well, so it's interesting because in the burbs, like where we are now,
In the bird.
that's how I get. If I see somebody looking at me, I kind of close up a bit. But when I used to
Okay.
be in the city in Philly, it was the complete opposite. When you see someone, you have to like open up and like look tougher and bigger because you need to intimidate them. If you
Sure.
if you look smaller, they're gonna be like, look at Bambi over there. Let's go take a bite. So yeah, you gotta
I look at you and I see prime intimidation.
Thank you. Yeah, that's yeah. Philly was good. I mean, when I was there, that was the first time I tried tomato pie. If you're open to talking about pizza, we could talk about pizza for a second. I know you and me
Okay.
have very different pizza tastes, but tomato pie is for those who aren't familiar, it can be sold in your supermarket, but at the most basic, it's just pizza dough with sauce. But most places you get it will do pizza dough, a tiny layer of mozzarella cheese, sauce, and then Parmesan grated cheese on top. And
Okay, it just sounds like a cheese pizza.
it's kind of like pizza, but it's very less cheesy. And the sauce they put on it is incredibly sweet. So if you've had Domino's sauce, that's the sauce.
God.
But like, yeah, but for most pizza places and most times you have pizza, you want sauce that's just not I don't want to say bland, but mild. You don't want it too sweet and you don't want it like too tart. You kind of just want just regular sauce.
Right.
So it is different to have it because it almost you know what it tastes like. Ever have Lunchable pizzas?
No, that's.
Oh, the
I
Lunchable
would-
pizzas.
I would never.
Hashtag Lunchable pizza. The nastiest one was the pizza. Oh, by far. If you thought Lunchables were unhealthy, Lunchable pizzas was a
Doesn't even look
cracker.
appetizing.
Oh, it was a cracker made of pizza dough, but it was like
Okay.
semi-cooked. It was almost as if you baked bread and halfway through you were like, I guess it's done. And you just took it out. And so it was like cooked but not
Doughy,
cooked.
soft.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then since you put Lunchables in the fridge, it was cold. I still to this day never understood why I liked Lunchables pizza because it was cold. But
Okay.
it's reminding me of the pizza, whatever called, tomato pie, because the pizza sauce was so sweet. It was like frosting. It was
Oh
just.
my god, it's disgusting.
So tomato pie
gross.
sauce is sweet, and another interesting fact is when they cook it, they serve it to you cold, which was weird because pizza cold is okay if you know you're gonna have it cold. Like if somebody
Right.
says, "I got leftover pizza in the fridge, you want it," and you have a piece and it's cold, you would eat it, right? You actually like cold pizza.
So tomato pies have, like I grew up eating these tomato pies where it was just like focaccia bread
Mm-hmm.
with tomato sauce.
Doughy bread
on
with
it.
right. That's
Yeah.
the basic. But you probably didn't have
it's a
sweet
big,
sauce,
big,
right?
big bread with no, it was no.
Right. Right. Right.
And even in school, and they wouldn't put cheese on it. It would just be pizza. It would just be pizza dough with sauce on it. I was never really a fan because I always found that it was too much sauce on a pizza
and no cheese. But so you never had the mozzarella cheese at the bottom?
No, I've never had that.
So that's the one that's actually right by my house. I still think it needs more cheese, just because bread and sauce is just bread and sauce. Frankly, that's what I have when I'm done with my meal. Like when I'm eating my food, and they're like, "Oh, do you want anything else?" I'm like, "No, I'll just take the bread we have left, and I'll just have some sauce." Like that's what I'm gonna do. Right? That's after my meal. That's not what I'm buying. So yeah, in Philly is the first time I had it, and it was pretty crap. But then when I came out here, there's a place right by me. Actually, next time you come over, I'll add it to the list of things to get. Let me. I have a little list going here. I'll add. I had Domino's Pizza desserts for you.
Oh wow! There's
and then I'm gonna add in here tomato
Steve
pie.
Experience that we know he won't like.
No, you're gonna love their dessert. Well, you're not a sweets guy.
I'm not a sweets guy.
But I still think their lava cake is just so phenomenal. It's gonna be.
I haven't had bad lava cake. Lava cake's just amazing.
Yeah.
You put vanilla ice cream and you put the hot chocolate cake, and then you dip. You like break open the chocolate cake and
doesn't come with ice
chocolate
cream.
Icing.
Doesn't come with ice cream, Steve.
Well, if I'm gonna have it, you better go buy some
ice cream.
But, yes.
You can't. You have to have it au naturel first.
No. Okay. Well, the first spoon will au naturel.
Okay. But so the way they make it, it's like a dumpling, like a pork bun. Where imagine the outside is crunchy.
What?
And as the layers get softer, then there's cake layer. Then the cake layer, and then the inside is the molten layer. Well, it's good. We'll have to try it next time. But it's gonna be a shame because then we have to buy the Domino's pizza, and you're gonna have to eat that.
No. We can go and get real pizza.
And then drive. The Domino's is just down the block from me, so we could drive past Domino's and just get the lava cakes.
That's right.
But if we're gonna do that, I might as well get 6. Stock up the freezer. Yeah.
I mean, if you end up doing a hangout and then you end up getting,
No, I don't share You don't share lava cakes at hangouts. No. That's no. That's way better than hangout food. I'm not doing that. Hangout food peaks at Oreos. I'll get you Oreos, get you cookies, I'll get you chips. Lava cake?
Weren't we gonna do the?
That's for a different episode. That's the in-person episode.
That's an in-person episode where.
It's an episode. Don't say it yet. Don't say it yet. Because we don't know when it's going to come out, so don't give any clues.
I thought you mentioned it in the past.
No, didn't mention. Not on this podcast.
Oh. Okay.
And if people did, prove me wrong. That's your time you wasted.
Hashtag Steve is right.
Yeah, we could eventually at some point. What I'd like to do also is get your thoughts on some of the different cookies though, because I think you have a very different cookie taste than me. And
cookie palate.
Cookie palate, yeah. I would like to say that I think both of us are cookie connoisseurs.
Okay.
I could easily have cookies every day, and I have had cookies every day for all of high school, so no problem there.
Right.
But I think you tend to lean towards what I'd call old-fashioned or original style type cookies, crunchy cookies, Chips Ahoy cookies. The fudge cookies. That's you.
I prefer soft and gooey Pillsbury cookies. Those are
what?
My favorite.
You've never served them to me in the whole time I've known you.
I'm gonna bake you cookies when you come over.
Oh, and I'm supposed to bring you lava cake. That's
Bring me lava cake is a whole lot less effort than me baking.
No way.
Cookies.
I'll have those Pillsbury cookies microwaved if I have to. Those are good raw.
My favorite.
Oh, yeah. The sugar ones?
Not the sugar ones.
Which ones?
The chocolate chip.
Oh no 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 no
Yeah.
no no no. That's
Yeah.
if
And
we're gonna
then
get chocolate
they're
chip.
super gooey. They
Have
like
you
come out of
had
the
the
oven.
the
Oh,
the
so good.
Ultimates cookies?
The Ultimates?
Look at you. You're like a newborn baby. You haven't even tried it. These cookies, I used to say, same as you, those Pillsbury cookies are great. They were my favorite to be baked. Until somebody gave me the Ultimate cookies, I now cannot believe I even had the trash that was called Pillsbury. Like the garbage. The Ultimate cookies, for those who are cookie connoisseurs, are hands down the best cookies. Period. There's no even competition. They not only have chocolate chips in there, they put chocolate chunks. It is semi-sweet
Ooh.
chocolate chips and then regular sweet chocolate chunks. And they're the breakables, just like the other ones. They just bake to perfection. You can't mess them up. So next time we
They
hang
come
out,
in like the preset cubes, and you just like put
that's
them
how
on
I
a
love to
tray.
cook. Preset. Preset. Someone comes over,
Just follow
Jim.
just follow the instructions of what to preheat your oven to.
Not even, because I use a
Not
toaster oven.
even.
So like
A
you
toaster
kind of gotta
oven.
wing it with the toaster oven.
What? You bake cookies in the toaster oven?
I make everything in the toaster oven. The only things that go in the real oven are if they don't fit in that toaster oven. Like if I'm gonna make a tray of chicken, or like this week I made burgers, but as you know my house doesn't have good ventilation, so I wanted to bake the burgers or like broil them, so that way they don't sear and then the smoke is all in my house.
Right.
So because I was broiling a bunch of burgers that went in the real oven, everything else toaster oven.
That's
I can't even think of what I wouldn't put in there.
burgers. I'll just grill, or I'll put them on a cast iron skillet
Oh yeah. Well, I got
and on
that,
the
but you
stovetop.
you put it on that, but your whole place starts smoking up.
Yeah, you just put that fan on high, and I did that today actually for
It
lunch.
gets
That's
in
what I had.
everything. That smoke gets on your clothes and on your furniture and stuff. It just
We
so.
worked at McDonald's. We've had worse
We have.
smells.
Well, I have the sensitive smoke alarms too, so they just go
But
off.
you have it covered by a plastic bag.
A shower
Sorry
cap.
for your.
Shower cap.
Sorry if you're like fire departments listening. To
I
this.
only have it covered. I only have it covered when you come over, and
okay.
when I cook. That's it. For the insurance.
It's this crazy contraption that he has, where it's just. You just look up at the ceiling, all of a sudden there's like
Who
12 bags of plastic.
Whoever made the house slash apartment condo thingy I live in was like, you know what we need? We need a fire alarm right over the stove, right in the kitchen. That's what we need. Because when people cook, they need to know when it's smoking. And you're just kind of like, all right. So I have one in every room, 2 in the kitchen, which there should be 0 in the kitchen. And I have sprinklers in all the rooms, which is weird.
Yeah, I think I just have one, and
As it
it's
should be.
near the entrance to my house, which is probably the best ventilated. I have still set off the fire alarm. Last time I did it was while making burgers.
Yeah, burgers always set it off. Yeah, it's such a mess. But I mean, I do like making burgers at home because I'm the kind of guy that likes to put rub on their burgers. And so because I rub the burgers, most places we go to don't do that. They just do salt, possibly pepper. But I like
Right.
paprika, salt, and then I also like sugar. You don't like sugar on your rub. So
No.
when I made burgers for you made that very clear.
Yes.
But also, I like my burgers well done, and a lot of people like them medium well. Like they like it pink, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, medium, perfect. Yeah, where it's like pink on the inside and cooked on the outside is most people, I think.
No. If you start making beef well done, you might as well be eating chicken. It has no more flavor. So dry.
So I think it takes a certain skill to cook it well done.
No, it doesn't. You just leave it on. It takes extra.
Well,
skill to make it,
that
and
dries
be
it out.
tasty.
If you leave it on, it dries it out. To make it well
Right.
done, you have to cook it like very high. You have to like sear it on the outside, and then low heat for like 10 minutes for the rest. So like I'll give you an example. When I cook my burgers on the cast iron is a good example too. I'll sear it, and then I'll cover it, and I'll put water in there, and so it steams it. So it becomes well done, but it's very juicy. But if you were
Right.
to just leave it on there, yeah, it would be like a hockey puck. It doesn't need- That's the same reason why when I cook
Yeah, when you
steaks.
go to a restaurant, unless
Yes.
it's a good restaurant, you ask for well done. You're getting a hockey puck.
Oh yeah. I mean that's the same way. When I cook my steaks, I cook them well done, and my aunt
Oh.
likes them black and blue. So we're completely opposites. But
Yeah,
when I
that's
go
the
to a
best.
when I go to a restaurant, I never ask for well done on the steak because I generally don't have confidence. Now, if I go to an expensive place, like I have been once or twice, like a wealthy person will treat you, or like when I was at work, a client will treat us, right? If the steak's going to be $80 and I say well done, it's cooked well done, it's still tender.
Yeah,
But I mean, like, you're gonna go to TGI Fridays and you say well done. That guy's just like, oh, you mean cook it longer? Got it. Man.
10 more burgers, leave the stove.
Yeah, he
before
just
yours
leaves
gets
it
off.
on. Exactly. Just leave it on. Oh, it's the worst. Yeah, and that's another problem and I didn't even know how to cook it well done until my aunt showed me, because that's the aunt that throws big barbecues. And
Right.
I asked her, how do you cook it black and blue? And she showed me, and it was like she uses butter first, and then the butter has to literally like char. And that's how she knows that the pan is hot enough. And that's when I learned that, like, to cook things well done as well, I need to get it at that heat. You can't just have it regular hot. You need this, like, I have like copper pans and stuff, like, or the stove, the whatever the one, cast iron one is a good example too. Like, they can get
Right.
hot, but you have to leave it on the burner for a few minutes, like 6 or 7 minutes, to get to that temperature. And most people are just
Yeah,
like,
I know how it's typically done for steaks to make it black and blue. I think they put peppers
oh, do they?
on the outside, but at high heat. So then the peppers end up like completely burning. But
That's when they know.
it still chars it like prevents that direct heat, that intense direct heat right on the steak.
Okay.
So it'll just char the outside
Oh,
of the
cool.
steak, and then in the middle it will just be able to cook just enough. That it's black
Yeah.
and blue.
Yeah. My aunt also eats raw ground beef. Like, when I say black and blue, the inside's cold on her steak.
Cold?
It's cold.
I've never had cold steak before.
I didn't even trust anything not cooked like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
I don't
eats,
blame
when she gets a hamburger, she likes to eat it raw. Like, you take the patty and you put it on the bun.
What? Oh my god.
Yeah. And apparently that's not weird. I thought that's
What?
weird.
That is weird. I would not be able to see something like they're like they chew with their mouth open or something.
Nah,
and
nah,
raw
ugh.
ugh.
Man. So I think, with going back to cookies, I think I'll add the Ultimates to the list of things you have to try. I can't have a sane podcast with you if you are not gonna if you're gonna
That's it,
be
we're on hiatus, guys, until the ultimate cookies are eaten.
yeah that's gonna have to can't have somebody like saying Pillsbury's so good when they haven't had Ultimates.
I love those Pillsbury cookies. Yeah.
Oh man.
When I was over at my parents this past weekend, they made some for after dinner.
Oh.
So good.
I can't say that they're not good. They are very good cookies. And had
Yeah.
I not had Ultimates, I would say that they're the best. But now that you have Ultimates, it's like I can't even look at Pillsbury. I'd be like, why don't we have Ultimates here? Same way when we get Oreos, I like more cream in my Oreo. I like the double stuffed. You like the regular generally.
Regular. Yeah.
And so once I
The
went to
extra cream it makes it too sweet. There's too much sugar.
Well, you like
It's
the
all
cookie.
frosting.
you like the cookie.
I like the cookie.
I don't like the cookie. So, like, I would be happy with just a different cookie with the Oreo frosting inside.
There seems to be this in our conversations where people are going to start noticing that you just love really sweet things.
Well, I'm a sweet guy, Steve. What can I say?
Oh, okay. And I'm a soft guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a sweet tooth for sure. And we have the flip also with spices, where I would say you enjoy spicy food, and you
Oh,
can
yeah.
also eat spicier food than me too.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of the flip. Same with sour. I love sour foods. You don't generally like the sour ones.
Sour. I'm sorry.
Like sour foods, like Sour Patch Kids or something like that.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean they're
Like you'll
they're
eat them,
okay.
but you don't love
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. You go crazy for
Oh yeah.
Sour Patch
Well,
Kids. Yeah.
so Sour Patch Kids, for those people who like Sour Patch Kids, hashtag Sour Patch Kids, they're not a sponsor, but they should be. They should be. If they're a sponsor, I would just have it raining down Sour Patch Kids.
Could you just like imagine it falling?
Oh, just imagine it. When you eat Sour Patch Kids so much, you just stop. Your body just gets used to it, I guess. And like,
Oh, I was gonna say it stops processing.
no,
Your organs start to shut down.
no, it becomes more efficient and stronger.
Oh, okay,
And I eat
sure.
a Sour Patch Kid, I'm like, this isn't even sour. It's just sweet.
I don't even need to work out today. I ate a Sour Patch.
That's right. That's right. 3 Sour Patch Kids, and that counts for a stare. 10 Sour Patch Kids, it's a stare master. So they came out with Extreme Sour Patch Kids, and I was
Extreme.
happy because you probably noticed I stopped getting the Sour Patch Kids at the movies. I didn't get them every time.
Yeah.
Because they're just not sour anymore. They're just sweet, and like, if I'm gonna have sweet candy, I'd rather have like Nerds or something else. Like I'm not
So
gonna.
they're like drugs to you, where like you got accustomed to and you just
Tolerance
need more
built up.
sour.
That's
Yeah.
right. So they came out with the Extreme, which finally it could taste the sour again. But the problem was they stopped selling the
Shutting down your
Extreme.
organs.
I will say that like those Sour Patch Kids, I don't know who came up with them, but somebody was like, look, if we take sugar and we pour water on it and make it into like a gelatin shape, we can cram so much sugar into the shape. Let's see if we can do it. And they do it, and they're like, it looks like a square. Or a person. We'll call it a Sour Patch Kid. And then they're like, you know what? It ain't sweet enough. Let's douse it in corn syrup to make it sticky and sweet, and then roll it in sugar piles. And that's what we
Where's
left.
the sour part?
Ah, it's in there somewhere. Barely.
So-
Barely.
somewhere.
Barely. I feel like the sour part was like one tiny eye droplet.
What about those like? There's that other can.
Warheads used to be sour.
Yeah, Warheads. Yeah,
Those used to be
that's-
sour, yes, but they were
Yeah,
also
that
sour
was-
sweet, which is the problem. They only had
Once it
one.
got to like the middle part. That's when it
You're
got
saying
sweet.
this right now?
I couldn't.
I'm actually salivating right now when you said that.
It's because you're like imagining it sour in your
Oh
mouth.
yeah. As soon as you said it, I imagine the image of it, and it's powdery on the outside. That's the sour. And as soon as you put it in your mouth, you need to salivate to get all that sour off.
Yes.
Oh.
It's like an automatic reaction of your body
I've been Pavloved right here.
to start salivating. When you
I
see it.
am. Yeah.
What's it called again? Warhead.
Warhead, yeah. But now it's not. Now it only works once with the salvation. And I also noticed you don't. Speaking of foods that we eat differently, with mac and
Sorry.
cheese,
Uh-huh.
I don't notice you eat a lot of mac and cheese, but you do like mac and cheese. So why is that? Why don't you buy mac and cheese?
Well, because when you buy mac, I don't really know mac and cheese brands
Oh,
other than like Velveeta and Kraft, but
well, that's pretty much all there are.
Yeah, okay. I've tried them and they taste. I use it with water, and so it didn't taste.
Creamy
It
enough
tasted
for
very
you?
bland. It just tasted
Okay.
bland.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
the
'cause
cheese wasn't
They
enough.
don't use
flavor.
sharp cheese in that. It's like very mild
Right.
American cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, so it ends up being, and it doesn't really stick to the macaronis really well.
No.
I'd rather somebody make their own.
Right. My
mac and
aunt does
cheese
make
and
it.
Top it with like breadcrumbs or something.
My
so
aunt
good.
does do that with butter, milk, and she uses Velveeta cheese, but also like shredded cheddar cheese and other cheases, all mixed
Yeah,
in.
you're supposed to use multiple cheeses.
Yeah, to give it like a thickness. But I ain't doing that. I have that recipe. I ain't doing that.
So when I was in college, this was before I really had any real life experience cooking. I was like,
Which
you know
you
what? I'm
have
gonna make
now?
mac and cheese. So what do I need? Some macaronis and some cheese. So
Oh
I just
my
I just
goodness.
grated cheese, put it inside macaroni, and just stuck it in the oven. While it was like
What
it
the
was the
hell?
driest. It was the driest mac and cheese I've ever had in my life, and I tried to substitute that with like salt,
Oh, what are you
just to
doing?
like give it better flavor because it tasted awful. Well, turns out you need a cream in there. You need
Yeah, jeez.
cream or heavy cream or something.
Ugh. Maybe next
Yeah,
time we'll make my
it
aunt's
smelled
macaroni.
awful too.
Yeah, I can imagine baking that
Just like
cheese.
baking, just
Well,
putting cheese in the oven.
your buffalo chicken dip, which okay, first off, before we get into um, the dip itself, I'd like to say that whoever makes it first in my vicinity gets to claim it. Okay?
All right.
So like if you find a recipe online, but then you make it for me, it's your dip. It's your chips. It's your recipe because frankly, you made it and I didn't know you found it online unless you told me, right?
Right.
So your buffalo chicken dip,
Right.
which I
Which is on the
actually
back of a Frank's Red Hot
don't give
bottle.
people that secret.
No, I changed it a bit.
Yeah, right.
I changed it a lot, actually.
Which is, but it is good. I would like it the original way because I do like ranch dressing, but you hate ranch dressing, so that never makes the cut.
No, yeah. No,
Um,
I don't hate. I like ranch dressing, but I don't understand why people would eat ranch dressing with spicy food.
because
Like
it
blue cheese
is,
is just
it's
way
milky.
better.
Blue cheese, blue cheese
Yeah,
is
blue.
different. It's different.
See, but I don't put like the blue cheese crumbles
No,
in
the
it.
blue cheese dipping sauce is different. So like
Yeah.
when we went to Buffalo Wild Wings that last time, I got ranch dressing with mine because the ranch is like a buttermilk flavor. It's a little sourish almost, a little tart. It's different. It's different. It's got spices in
Yeah,
it.
but it ends up like in your you want something to balance what you're eating, right?
Yeah.
In terms of food 101, like
Okay, professor.
so you have the acidity of the spiciness, but you need something
I think it is mild.
calming.
It is mild, right?
It is,
But it's not as mild as blue cheese.
yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It's not as basic
Oh yeah.
as blue cheese is because it has a little bit of acidity to ranch also, and
Yeah.
so like I don't see the point of eating ranch with spicy. I'd rather have the balance.
I think
of
most
just
people would agree with you because
cheese.
that is the standard. Like if I went to get wings,
should be.
they give you blue cheese. They don't generally give you ranch. And in fact, some places like Domino's, hashtag Domino's be our sponsor, they they
We talk
put
about
they put the blue cheese crumbles in the blue cheese, which I dislike, in their
right.
blue cheese dressing. I prefer the creamy, smooth, processed whatever that is thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just because the blue cheese crumbles, like you end up having to
Like eat a
chew
yeah.
on your
cheese.
dressing, which
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
Or
And
on
then
your
knowing
dip.
it's moldy because that's what blue cheese is, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I think we're getting close to the end of the time. Is there anything you wanted to add before we go here? Anything interesting?
No, I'm ready to wrap it up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody again for joining. If you enjoy our podcast or videos, please consider subscribing to us on YouTube and all the other handles here. They're in our video at the bottom under Steve over there, but I'll read them out for those on the podcast. We are at Creativity Level 0 for YouTube, Twitter, and the podcast. And on Instagram, we are at creativity_level_0. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
The number.
Oh, that's right. And the number 0. Yes,
The
please.
number 0 for the Instagram.
Yeah, because we are big zeros.
Wow. What a way to end.
End on a low note. Start on a
That's
high
right.
note next time.
Can only go up.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thanks.